Dr. Cindy Duke.
Hi everyone, so I'm Dr. Cindy Duke. I'm a board certified OBGYN, reproductive endocrine and infertility subspecialist, as well as a virologist. So I spend a lot of my days communicating about vaccines, vaccine immunology, and health equity.
Cindy, I wanted to ask you, so, we've seen, especially here at this conference, there's, the digital passports and mobile devices, and, clearly that is sort of a feature that we're going to be using to travel. But how do you account for the digital divide and this issue of access to technology? Is that a fair issue, or are people pointing that out, as something that is actually not realistic?
It's a very fair issue, and one that is just amplified in the pandemic altogether. So there's so many things that we have been relying on that for many communities that have been historically under-resourced, they haven't been able to rise to the challenge that this pandemic faces. So whether it was talking about remote schooling, Zooming in from work, a lot of the things that we now take for granted for communities that were already under-resourced, where they don't have Wi-Fi, where they don't have telephones or other devices that actually can access such services, that wasn't possible for them. So now we're talking about things like vaccine passports, clear, we have that here, such an amazing thing, but for many communities, that's not something that's even within reach. And so we have to think of alternatives at every step of the way. If you are someone who has a company that can invest in such technology, we have to start thinking about how do we make it accessible to those communities. It's not just, well, my cousin, my friend, I was able to help them with these technologies. What parts of this country still don't have broadband internet access? What parts of our country don't have access to these smart devices that we now take for granted and have multiples of in our households?